Hello everybody and welcome back to isLast YouTube channel. As you may know, the new version has been released and we are going to list the most important features and changes. As not all the features and corrections will be discussed in this video, you are welcome to check the full list of changes in the release notes. Please note that you can turn on the subtitles for the video by clicking on the subtitles control in the YouTube panel instruments. Check out our Facebook and LinkedIn pages to learn more about our life and business.
Previously, detection of message loops was set up in the SMS switch internal configuration. In this version, the new loop detection interface has been added. It is available if the loop detection permission is granted to the user. Please note that the interface is compatible with the new generation SMS switch only. The interface allows selection of the loop detection type, block type, a list of sender IDs and destination numbers that are used to detect loops. To take all numbers into account, specify asterisk in the appropriate field. Also, the user can indicate whether the rule is active, configure an inclusive or exclusive list of channels, and set their priority. The block period parameter is available if the block type is a cumulative or periodic. The cumulative type allows activating the block after the first message, and all further duplicate messages will be rejected with the internal SMS loop reason within a predefined period. If a duplicate message was received while the timeout was not expired, the timeout will be reset and started over. For the periodic block type, the block is enabled after a preset number of messages is received. The timeout starts after the receipt of the last allowed message. The receipt of duplicates does not change the timeout start time. Duplicates are also rejected with the internal SMS loop reason. Additionally, the system-wide reject code can be set for this internal status in the submit SM RESP packet. For this, contact the isLast technical support team and communicate the code. The local address field has been made available for client channels. The field serves to define which SMS switch can receive the message. If the message was received to a different SMS switch, it will be rejected. The new system parameter support end date has been added for notification about the upcoming support end date. Also, the technical support end date information has been added to the license info page. Possibility has been added to the system to block messages received with an expired validity period. For this purpose, the system parameter block expired messages has been added, as well as a similar parameter in the SMS channels interface. Possible values are default, yes, no. The default value means use the value from the system parameter. Also, the parameter set in the SMS channels interface has priority over the system parameter. For example, if the parameter on the SMS channel level is set to no and the system parameter is set to yes, an expired message from this channel will not be blocked. The verification of the validity period expiration is performed after the translation of the entity equals validity period. The verification is performed after the translation is applied if the parameter is enabled on the system level or for the vendor or client SMS channel. If no route is found suitable because of the expired validity period, the EDR will have the validity period is expired status. Previously, the system did not verify compatibility of the source data coding with the allowed vendor data coding for HTTP vendors. For example, a client could send a message with data coding equals 8 that was not specified in the allowed data coding list of the vendor channel. Now, this behavior can be modified with the help of the new system parameter, filter HTTP vendors, based on data coding 0, no, 1, yes. The default value is 0. Possibility has been added for the advanced simulation type to enable the ignore HLR cache parameter. When enabled, HLR dipping will occur even if the number was in the HLR cache. That is, HLR dipping was performed earlier for this number. This will allow getting a more accurate picture of routing with account for the HLR rate, which is deducted from the client rate in case of regular routing, if the parameter deduct HLR rate from margin is enabled. Also, the HLR rate column has been added to the simulation results table. It shows the HLR rate in system currency if the deep HLR option is enabled for the product and the HLR MCCMNC is not taken from the cache. Now, the dates of prefix to MCCMNC associations will be taken into account in scheduled message simulation. For example, if prefix 7910 is associated with MCCMNC 250.001 as of the 1st of January 1221, and is associated with MCCMNC 250.002 starting from the 1st of January 2022, then simulation with the date equals the 2nd of January 2022 will show association with MCCMNC 250,002. Also, the system will search for the appropriate rate. The new internal response from the routing module has been added for cases when all routes are blocked by routing rules or the block type 2000030. This code can be found in EDRs exported from the interface, the status code column, or in the EDR export report, the SMS status code column. Also, to allow code transmission to the client, it is possible to configure translation in the translation rules, error and status code interface. Translation type routing response to code EDR message status text for the response to 2000030 to the required code. Support of the flash flag has been added for incoming HTTP requests. Its value can be transmitted for empty message sending. The flag can be changed with the help of translation rules. Possible values are 0 regular message and 1 flash message that is shown on the screen and is not stored in the device memory. Please note that the flag is merely written to the EDR technical details field and does not change the message data coding. Previously, it was impossible to match an MO message with an empty message and show it in Alarus campaign portal, because message mapping to display the user response in Alarus campaign is performed under the following conditions, whereas MO responses from the IM vendor Viber have a fixed sender ID. The empty message ANI coincides with the MO message DNIS. The empty message DNIS coincides with the MO message ANI. The response MO message is received within the values set in the system parameter track MO responses to MT max waiting period, minutes. Matching has been implemented in this version. Possibility to view statistics by year has been added to Analytics, year analytical cubes. The respective system parameters have been added. Year cube partition count, number of years for storage of year cubes. The default value is 10. Stats calculation delay, minutes, year. The default value is 1300 for Alarus SMS platform and 144 for Alarus Invoice. Stats calculation threshold, CDR per year, applicable to Alarus Invoice only. The default value is 10,000. Stats calculation threshold, EDR per year, applicable to Alarus SMS platform only. The default value is 48,000. Sending of concatenated messages has been enhanced for the new generation SMS switch. Earlier, such messages could be sent over different SMPP connections. Now, they will be sent through a single connection. The data coding metric has been added to SMS routing rules, which allows routing messages based on the client data coding. For example, should the user need to send messages to a vendor if the incoming data coding equals 0, the condition must look as follows. The metric can be used on the rule level as well as the choice level. The following layers have been added: client sender ID and vendor sender ID, which allow viewing the analytics by sender IDs and adding these details to reports generated based on the analytics data. To enable the layers, contact the Alarus technical support team and communicate their special code. Also, numeric sender IDs that contain 9 or more digits will be grouped under the numeric category. Previously, the receipt of message IDs from the client was added for incoming HTTP messages. However, this feature was applicable only to short messages, with long message mode equals cut. Now long messages are also supported. The incoming parameter will be one and the same for the entire message, whereas the SMS switch will split the IDs into several parts and add the part number to each of them. For example, if a message contains 2 parts and has the incoming message ID shown on the screen, the SMS switch will process these IDs in the way shown on the screen. The maximum parameter length is 60 bytes. If multiple MCCMNCs existed within a single country and the vendor had rates for these MCCMNCs, the test system interface showed only one MCCMNC. Now all MCCMNCs from the rates are shown for the network with no quantity limitation.
During rate import, where comma was used as a decimal separator, a rate with a value less than 1/10,000, for example 900,000, was displayed in scientific notation. The issue has been fixed.
The Show Temporary EDRs filter has been added to the Statistics tab of Alarus campaign portal, which allows showing or hiding EDRs with an intermediate status. Previously, possibility of text translation for concatenated messages was added to the system. However, the internal configuration allowed setting a specific list of vendor channels only. Starting with the new version, all channels can be specified. Previously, when creating a volume-based deal in the volume-based deals 2.0 interface, the availability of a rate was verified in the product. If a rate to the deals MCCMNC was already available in the product, an error appeared. Now, a message is shown prompting the user to close the current rate and open a new rate as of the deal start date. Previously, the SMS switch wrote the source client data coding to the vendor data coding field. The issue has been fixed for SMPP vendors. A verification has been added for MO routing that the vendor and client channels do not belong to one and the same partner. If they do, the message will not be transmitted further, and an EDR with the route failed status will be created. Previously, when several consecutive volume-based deals were created with one and the same price, one rate for the entire period of the deals was created. When one of the deals, one period was removed, the rate was deleted for the entire period, which was erroneous. Now a separate rate will be created for each period. Previously, when applying a pack to an account, the SMS Pack user subscription interface allowed selecting packs whose contract company was different from that of the account. This caused a specific error when attempting to apply a pack. Filtering has been enhanced. Now the list of available packs contains only those that have the appropriate currency at the account's contract company. Previously, MO messages received from the IM vendor Viber that contained the tracking ID parameter had the vendor message ID equals -0. Now the value of the tracking data parameter from Viber's response will be used for the purpose, with the -0 suffix added to it. You can see an example on the screen. Blank spaces in the beginning or end of tags created or imported through the tags or tags import interfaces got removed. The new system parameter truncate non-alphanumeric characters has been added to preserve the blank spaces. The default value is 1, the original logic. When set to 0, blank spaces will not be removed when adding a tag in the tags interface. The trim spaces checkbox has been added to the tags import interface in order to import tags. Its default value depends on the system parameter. The logic for sending forced balance alerts has been modified. The parameter send balance alerts for accounts with non-zero credit limit has been split into two. Send balance alerts to customers with non-zero credit limit and send balance alerts to vendors with non-zero credit limit. Besides, when the parameter is enabled for vendors, balance alerts will also be sent if the agreement is bilateral. As message text translations can be applied multiple times for rules with next equals continue, the simulation log will now show intermediate translation results. In rare cases when a campaign was paused and then resumed, the message could be sent twice to one and the same number. The issue has been fixed. The new generation SMS switch transfers optional TLV fields from the client to the vendor, even if the feature is not configured. To avoid sending empty TLV fields, a new parameter has been added that is set in the internal configuration. To enable the feature, contact the Alaris technical support team and communicate the special code and the vendor IDs. An incorrect HLR service could be used in rare cases when an HLR request was received within 1 second from different client products having different HLR dipping rules through different HLR services. The issue has been fixed. The method for working with templates has been hidden from REST API. The following respective methods have been added to EAPI: update preset, delete preset, get preset list. When the SMS switch is restarted, it will send the UNBIND message to clients. Virtual private database policies have been added for the new volume-based deals interface. Now billing schemes associated with an assigned number can be edited. Filtering by the partner direction has been added to the rate import interface. A hyperlink leading to the SMS Pack user subscription interface has been added to the subscribers column of the SMS Pack interface. When the user clicks the link, a filter is applied, and all the subscriptions pertaining to the selected pack are shown. The methods for working with routing rules, SMS rule, voice rule have been hidden from REST API, as they are intended for internal use. Similar methods were added to EAPI. You can see them on the screen. Additionally, methods for working with the SMS rules now support the following parameters. The sender ID mask, dest address mask, and text pattern filters were moved to the parameters, client, and parameters, vendor sections to enable search by the vendor or client message leg. The following markers have been added to the new carrier notification letter template. The EDR field technical details now allows exporting additional details, such as the verified SMS flag, provided that the verify SMS feature is enabled. When using regular expressions from the regular expressions reference book in the routing rules, translation rules, and traffic priority rules interfaces, a tooltip with the template name and its values appears when hovering over the expression. Previously, the number of cached HLR requests for concatenated messages was calculated incorrectly for all parts in analytics. Now it will be calculated for one part only.
Previously, translation of special symbols for MO messages received through the next generation SMS switch was not supported. The support has been implemented.
If a translation rule has entity equals validity period and translation equals 0, the transmitted value of validity period equals null. A tooltip explaining this has been added to the web interface. As sending of SMS rate export results by a link or in a file is controlled by the system parameter rate sheet delivery options, the parameter has been moved to the common section of administration system settings. Previously, it was available for Alaris Invoice only. In response to a client message status request over HTTP, the system also returns the system delivery time field, which shows the delivery report received time by the system, in the format that you can see on the screen. Web server vulnerabilities were detected by specialized tests. Additional settings and libraries have been added to eliminate the vulnerabilities and enhance the system security. Previously, if the rate inheritance mode was set to global longest match and the match was a rate with rate node equals blocked from a parent product, the rate was ignored. The error has been fixed. Traffic will be blocked in cases detailed above. Previously, routing metric did not take into account buffered EDRs, and its value increased when sending the message to the vendor. This could cause incorrect metric calculation. Now the counter will be incremented when sending the message to the vendor buffer, and will not be increased when the message leaves the buffer and is sent further. If a client did not send the packet in response to a sent MO message, the SMS switch generated no EDR. The issue has been fixed. When the system could not send a file import notification based on email processing rules, for example, the email server was unavailable, the processed email was not added to the Files tab. The issue has been fixed. Previously, the system did not allow exporting EDRs from SMS Analytics for the deleted partner layer and returned an empty file. The issue has been fixed. If the option stateful concatenated messages processing was enabled for a client SMS channel and one of the message segments was not accepted by the partner, the SMS switch recorded an EDR with the isLast field value equal to 0, even if no resend attempts are performed. In the new version, the correct value of the field will be 1. Previously, if an email processed by the automatic import module contained HTML markup and the matching rule contained an email text mask, the rule was considered inapplicable. Previously, the past period rate increase error was not shown in rate import if the rate was added to a past date on the rate start date. Example, the rate with the price of 0.01 is active since the 1st of January 2021. The vendor sends an increase on the 1st of May 2021. The price is 0.1, starting from the 1st of January 2021. As the rate was not available before the 1st of January 2021, no error appeared. Now such changes will be taken into account by the system. When exporting a file to Microsoft Excel in the shortcode reference book editor interface and then trying to import it in the shortcode reference book import interface, an error appeared in the browser console and the interface froze. The effect of the override did statuses permission has been modified for the following operations: assign from status aging, dearchive from status archived, close from status archived and aging, deassign from status assigned, archive from status available and aging. If the permission is not granted, these options are not allowed. When creating a limitation rule with an empty MCCMNC list, the entire traffic was blocked when the limit was reached. However, the block did not affect the actual traffic. This issue has been fixed. In some cases, when it was impossible to send an invoice, for example, the document could not be created, the invoice still changed its status to sent, even though it was not actually sent. Previously, the RN and CNT columns were available in the Reports 2.0 interface when exporting a report to Microsoft Excel or CSV and sending the results to email, even though the report code does not contain these columns. The issue has been fixed.